Us plant YouTubers are always raving on about these essential plant tools like clear pots, moisture meters. I rave about microfiber gloves. I love them. And honestly, they definitely deserve the hype because they're so essential to my plant care routine. But today, I'm going to be showing you the stuff that you won't find necessarily in the plant aisle. Or maybe I've repurposed a few things here and there. And it all starts with a turkey baster. So today I'm sharing with you a collection of non-planty type plant tools that have somehow become essential in my plant care routine. Honestly, nearly all of these are not sold in the plant section with one or two caveats, but I honestly can't imagine my plant life or my plant care routine without them. And yes, it does include this thing. And please make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to share with you my current obsession right now, and it's something so small that makes a really big difference. I'm sure you're interested now, what in the world am I doing with this thing, right? So let's start with explaining how I use a turkey baster with my plants. Now, I love a good roast. I just don't cook them enough because when I cook a roast, I overcook. I have too many potatoes and it's just a lot of work. So I love a good roast. I just don't do it often. So I don't get very much usage out of a turkey baster until now. Here's how I use it, right? One of the things that is really hard to maintain or control, or it's just a little bit of a pain to do, is when you're watering your plants, you got to give them enough water. Now, you can take your plant out of the pot and put it in another somewhere in the sink or in the bathroom or in the shower. That makes sense. You can wash the leaves while you're there. I definitely recommend doing that every now and again, but doing that every week is really tiresome. And if you want to keep it in the pot, you're just worried about the excess water showing, especially if there's an inner pot sitting in an outer pot. You can't really see the water sitting in that little saucer at the base of the pot. So that excess water, instead of just dumping it out and getting rid of it, it has nutrients. It likely has, for me, silica, which I really love. And it also usually has some kind of pest control in it. I use something called SNS 209, and they are not cheap. So I don't want to waste the excess water that falls straight through the pot. I want to reuse it. So that's where this little goodie comes in. All you have to do is literally like you would grab the oil or, the sauce from your bottom of the turkey to the top. You do the same thing with the water. So I will grab the water if there's any excess in that base of that pot, and I'll redistribute it back up to the top of the pot, making sure that all of my soil gets really, really damp. You want all the soil wet and damp so the roots get the best watering possible without being oversaturated. You don't want any excess sitting in the base either. Sometimes I leave that excess water there, maybe a couple of hours just so it can soak back up, but anything left after 24 hours is too much. You don't want excess water sitting in there too long, especially if you're an overwaterer. Don't let water sit in the base of the pot. You can use a turkey baster to get rid of the excess water easily and quickly without moving all your plants around, without lifting something heavy, and no real fuss. Now, in saying all of that, I do recommend you take these to the shower or the bath every now and again, but this just helps in those watering situations where it's week to week ongoing, because we all know that watering takes a long time, especially if you've got a lot of plants. It's kind of like, I think about it a little bit like Robin Hood style. I take water from one plant and you give it to another, and then it's distributed it evenly, all the water wealth is distributed evenly around the plants. So not only am I the Robin Hood of plant watering techniques, I'm also using a tool that hardly ever gets used in my kitchen, to be honest. So I feel good about actually purchasing this thing. It's good quality, it holds the water, it cleans easily enough, but I get a lot more use out of this thing and my plants are better for it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, not only can you use this for normal soil and normal potting, you can also use it for your leca. Just if the leca on the top becomes a little bit dry, grab your nutrient water down from the base below and just redistribute it over the top of the leca. That helps make sure that you don't need to re-change out the water as often. You can save the water that's there, you can redistribute it, make sure that leca stays damp, and it just helps your plants thrive. I forgot to mention that, but just chucking it in here in the last minute before I move on. Okay, let's go to the next one now. Okay, next one. I had some beautiful orchids that were flowering. I've actually got them starting to reflower again, and the flower spikes come out, and all orchids without any proper support, all the flowers start to fall over to the side, which is still lovely, but I wanted to hold the flowers upright so they can look beautiful and aesthetic in my lounge room in all the plants. So I bought these quite nice, very clear, nicely aesthetic stakes. They are plant stakes, so this is one of those plant tools that is actually a plant tool, but this didn't do its job because it is so flexible. So it was meant to be a strong, solid support system even though it's quite thin, I was really, really hoping that it would be really, really strong so my flowers, which are quite heavy in their own right, don't fall over. But with the flowers on this thing, you can see it bends quite well without breaking. But even though they were completely useless for what they were designed for, I recently discovered a new repurpose for them within my plant world. And that's why we're standing here next to this beautiful, glorious plant of mine. It is a philodendron glorious, by the way. So what I can do instead is I can use this in my moss poles. So I've got this beautiful plant here. This is my philodendron glorious. It's growing very well. But as you can see here, floppy, fluffy leaf, right? So while these are beautiful standing upright, they look amazing standing this way, and they're also getting the maximum amount of sunlight. This one here gets stuck in the door because it does face the window just back there, and you know, it can break and it's just too floppy and it just gets in the way. So grab one of these, which is a little bit flexible, pop it into the moss. I twist as I go. All right, I'll lift him up so you can see. So now it's still flexible, which is great because I don't want the leaf sitting up here. And then I can just literally tie my stem of this big leaf onto the stake. So the flexibility here helps because otherwise the leaf isn't sitting next to the moss pole, and it's still not breaking because it's still strong enough and flexible enough to bend with enough weight. And now this leaf can sit closer to everything else, looks good for me, and when it does readjust itself to the light, it will maximize the amount of light on those leaves. So yeah, it's a really, really perfect way to use the stake, which I thought had just failed at its job miserably, basically. And because they're clear and aesthetic, you can't really see them. They blend nicely into the moss pole, and they blend nicely, I should say, you know, to the leaf. You can't really see them doing their job. So beautiful. So now I have, like, they came in a pack of 20 or 30, so I have quite a lot, and I'm just really, really happy that I'm not needing to throw them out. I've kept them for so long and I had no idea what to do with them. And now I've finally found a new purpose for them. So I'm very, very happy about that. Not a waste. And if you are interested in this or anything else that I show today, just go and have a look, check them out. I will leave a link to them in the descriptions below. Isn't it funny how sometimes the best plant tools are the ones that were designed for one thing, but failed at their job miserably and became something else entirely. It's kind of like, you know, when you buy beautiful like trousers, right? Nice, super casual trousers that you want to go out and meet your friends with, but then you realize that you're a plant parent and you like staying at home with your plants more than you like going out. So those beautiful trousers now become beautiful pajamas or loungewear, right? You bought those trousers for one reason, but they became useful for something really, really different. Anyway, I digress. Maybe that's just me. I do love staying at home, talking to my plants. Anyway, comment below for me if you've ever repurposed a failed tool. I love hearing about creative problem solving from you guys. And I am thinking about doing a part 2 to this video because I've got quite a few different things to show you. I may not be able to fit them all in one video. So share any of your problem solving skills, any really cool tips or tricks you have in the comments below, or message me on my DMs, on my socials, through my emails, whatever you want. Let me know your tips and I might put them in a part 2 of this video where you guys can be front and center helping me problem solve to the community. Right, the next one I want to show you is a little bit of an odd one, and it's kind of like you would think I'm in a lab experiment, and if you saw my last video about 6 methods about propagation, then you know I like a good experiment. But I do have different types of soil. I have some plants or a lot of plants in my potting mix. I have a lot of aroids and they love my very airy potting mix, but I also have leca. I probably have maybe 15%, 20% of my plants in leca. And when I'm fertilizing plants, in terms of normal fertilizer and normal potting mix, I'll go 50 to 75% of the recommended dosage, just to make sure that I'm not giving too much nutrients, and I also water more frequently, so I want to give it a little bit less dose. So when you're measuring out your fertilizer, you just used spoons or cups or whatever it is, and you can eyeball it, right? But I find with hydroponic systems like leca and a normal hydroponic solution, you need to have nutrients in that water, and for me, I feel like it's much more of a specific amount, specific millage amount per litre. You don't want to give too much when you're doing hydroponic nutrients, and you don't want to give too little because then the plant can't get what it needs. So I've never really gone, oh, it's about enough, it's about right. I like to be quite specific. So if you're the same like me and you like to make sure you're giving it the right dosage, not too much, not too little, and it's not an even 5 mil or 10 mils, grab one of these. This is a pipette, and it's a little bit dirty, apologies, because I've used it quite often, but you can see, can you see that? let me get my face out. Can you see it has millage markings? I'll make sure I've got a close up. So I can be really specific on how much millage. I can give it 9.3 mils for every so-and-so litres. So in my system, I have this. I just found this on a very cheap, what was it, Etsy or something? Can't remember. It's a 3-part system. And for each dose in my 4.5 mil watering can, I have to give 9 mils of this one, something called micro, something called grow, and this one called bloom. 3 times 9 mils, not 10, not 7, not 5, not 8, not an estimate, 9 mils. And so I can be really confident. You just squeeze it, the water comes up, and I can be really confident and I hit that 9 mil and then transfer that to my watering pot. So I absolutely love this thing. I found it on Amazon. I found it maybe about a year ago. I hope I've still got a link to it below. I'll find one super similar if I don't. But the reason I like this one is it's not tiny small. It's big enough, it still holds the right amount of mils, and it has markings very clear. And it's very easy to use. It hasn't broken, this doesn't come off. It's easy to clean enough. It's easy enough to clean, I guess, even though I haven't been. But it's just really helpful. Now, you can use a syringe like those big syringes, obviously not with the needle, but you can get those syringes. But I do find that they're smaller, they're fatter, the mils lines are closer, if that makes sense. And while they're good, I find this a lot better. So do what works for you. I'm not saying you need to buy this, but if you are interested and you like to be specific and you like to make sure that your plants are getting the right amount of nutrients, not too much, not too little, grab yourself some kind of pipette. It'll make you so much more confident when you're using liquid fertilizer with your plants. Right, next one, I need to take you outside because this does help with the bigger plants in general. But check this out. Next one I brought you out here for my beautiful recut and repurposed, hello Moosey, fiddle leaf fig. Now the next tool I want to show you is a little bit plant adjacent, but it is this thing here. It's called a spot shaker, and it's made mainly, it's in the lawn area, right? So it's made mainly for spreading out your lawn food, your fertilizer, your seeds for your lawn, which is still plant worthy, I get that. And it's really cool because it's got these different big, medium and small holes depending on what you're trying to distribute. But I found that I use this more for fertilizing my plants. So I don't know about you, but when it comes to fertilizing, I like mixing it up a little bit to keep things interesting. And worm casting is really natural. So I like to try and put worm castings on my plants as much as possible. I use it in my DIY potting mix. And when it comes to outdoor plants, I don't actually fertilize them as often as I do indoor plants, just because carrying a huge watering can around is just annoying. So I usually just use the hose, but that doesn't come with fertilizer. So I grab this, fill it with worm castings, and it's so easy to just nicely distribute just a little bit on the top. It's just shaky like you would, you know, seasoning a barbecue or whatever it is. I'm still in the food aisle. And it's just so much easier just carrying this around. And then, there's a turkey. The disadvantages of going live on plant care. Hey, you two, he's gone. Yes, he's good. What was I saying? Anyway, long story short, I just repurpose this for fertilizer, and then I make sure I water gently over the top, and the fertilizer will seep down into the soil and keep nicely fertilized and keep my plants nicely fertilized as well as my lawn. So yeah, beautiful little tool. I've only just got it maybe 6 months ago and I've used it a lot. You can see it's quite heavy. So yeah, another tool that has been repurposed for something I didn't necessarily use it for in the beginning. But very handy. Grab yourself one if you have a lot of outdoor plants, especially the bigger plants that you want to make sure you're fertilizing well. Now, if you're getting value out of this video as we're going through, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because I've got so many more unusual plant stories and I really do love creative problem solving. So make sure you're following along. And while you're there, come and join my Leafy newsletter. I give more tips and tricks every week on a Thursday. It's an amazing community and you can have more of a say in how this channel evolves over time and what I talk about within these videos. So come and subscribe in the Leafy Lovin newsletter. I'll leave the link below. Okay, next up. So we're back here. So you know how you buy big bags of potting mix, buy soil, buy perlite, and you need to close them somehow. Now, you can decant them into big other tubs. I sometimes do that, but let's be honest, it's a little bit of a waste of the big tub plastics. And if you don't use it very often, I don't know. Some people like doing that, some people don't. So you do have to find a way, once you've opened that potting mix bag, to close it again. And you can get these things, right? They're really annoying. Or you can buy smaller clips, you know, like you have for food. they are okay, but you can still get air into that potting mix. You can still keep the potting mix open because they don't work very well. So having extra moisture or air, humidity into that potting mix isn't a very good thing. So you need something that will help close those potting mix bags properly. Enter these things. I absolutely love these things. This is not a need to have, don't get me wrong, it's not a need to have. They're not the cheapest thing around, I'll admit it. I bought it a little while ago, but I bought a lot of them and they're basically just big clip bags, like big, size of my hand, clip bags. So instead of trying to fit the whole opening of a side of a big bag of potting mix into this little corner, I just kind of fold the edge and pop the clip over, and I have quite a few, and these are OXO specific clips. I'm sure you can get other cheaper ones, but I just love the colors and I love the size and they're really good quality. And as I said, I have 8, so I use them all the time. They are an indispensable part of my DIY potting mix solution. So if you are looking for a way to store your potting mix for the better, honestly, try getting some of these really, really big clip bags. Fun for something so simple. Maybe it's just me, but I absolutely love the look. I love the reason. I love having them on the corner of every single one of my bags. I don't know. It's just something that I absolutely love. I would absolutely recommend. And yeah, try them and tell me they're not life-changing in terms of potting mix bags, closing solutions, whatever their answer is. So yeah, absolutely love these. Okay, and now we're at the finale, we're back at home ground, and I want to show you this one thing. As I said at the beginning, I am weirdly obsessed with this #1 little tool, and it is, where are they? Hold on, they're over here, hold on. It is mini wheels. They actually come in a packet of 4 like this, but I bought them in a bag. I think I got about 20 or 30 in a bag off of Amazon. And I'm just obsessed. And the reason why I'm obsessed is because, going back to my potting mix solutions, when I do big boxes of DIY potting mix, I love my own DIY. I have a whole video of my favorite arrowed mix, which works for so many different plants. I absolutely stick to that mix. But it's so heavy to carry that freaking big box. I was about to swear. So instead, wheel it over. I literally did that with one hand. So I put these wheels on the bottom, not only of my potting mix boxes, the big DIY boxes, but almost anything that I can think of that might need it. So I've got them on the bottom of my coffee machine. I've got them on the bottom of my KitchenAid mixer. I've got them on the bottom of my juicer that I bought. Like anywhere where it's a little bit clunky and heavy to lift, I actually have wheels on them. And no, when I'm using my KitchenAid mixer, even with the wheels on the bottom, it doesn't move around. They're not like super slippery or anything like that. They still hold true because they're so small, but it's so much easier to move it on the counter with those wheels. But anyway, that's not plant stuff, that is kitchen stuff. But what I'm saying is, if you buy these things, I'm sure you will find more reasons to use them than just a couple of boxes of DIY potting mix. I'm absolutely obsessed with them. I'm trying to find more things to put the wheels on. I'm sure you could even put them on the bottom of planters, pots, big ceramic pots, and move them around. They're cheap, they're easy, there's heaps of them, they work, they haven't fallen apart on me yet, and I've used them for a few years now. I'm obsessed. What else can I say? I'm obsessed with mini wheels. They make such a big difference. Right, so there you have it, my collection of weird plant tools that aren't technically plant tools. Some of them are maybe, but most of them aren't. From turkey basters to spot shakers, sometimes, honestly, the best solutions can come when you just think a little bit outside the box and think differently about what you've already got. I'm sure you can find a use for almost anything in your house, one way or the other, without throwing it out. Unless it's completely fallen apart, then of course, throw it out. But otherwise, I'm sure if you get creative, you can find a new way to use your plant stuff or non-plant stuff. Anyway, my plant care routine might look a little bit unconventional sometimes, but the tools that I've used today are actually solving real problems. Some of them I didn't even know I had, and the traditional tools that I have looked for or I can't even find just couldn't do the job. And remember, if you do want help finding specific creative solutions for your specific plant challenges, my tool called My Plant Buddy is perfect for this. It's all about personalized problem solving for your plants, your home, your climate, your experience. If you don't know much about it, check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. Really do yourself a favor. It's a tool that I specifically made to help make plant care easier with advice literally just for you. And as I said earlier, for weekly plant tips and a little bit of fun delivered straight to your inbox every week, I share my best unusual discoveries there. This week, I'm even sending out more ideas to add to today's video. So trust me, I share a lot on my email newsletter, and you can contact me more even there, and even help sometimes shape the future of this channel and what I talk about and what I make my videos about. So please do make sure you join my Leafy newsletter. The link is in the description below. Drop a comment and let me know, what weird non-plant tools have you discovered for your plant care? I read every single comment as much as possible. I'm getting a lot of comments these days, but I do still try and respond to every single one. And I so look forward to all the new tips and tricks and creative, positive solutions that you are always sharing with me in the comments. So if you've got any weird and wonderful planty tools or non-planty tools that made it to your list, share them with me in the comments below, or private message me. And as I said earlier, you might even be in the part 2 of this video, which I'm planning as we speak. So that's it for today. I'm going to leave you here with this next video where I'm going to be sharing 3 plant problems that forced me to again be really creative in how I solved those problems in my own unique house in this townhouse with lower lighting and lower ceilings and all sorts. So please do make sure you stick with me, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll leave you here with this next video. As always, thank you very much for joining me, having a week full of leaves, love and laughter, and I will see you in this video right here. See you later, guys. Bye.
Moosey, Moosey. Yes, hello, baby.